Imagine you're a farmer. You've spent months tending your fields, watching the weather, and hoping for a good harvest. Every day you rise before dawn, putting in long hours to ensure your crops thrive. After months of hard work, you finally harvest a bumper crop of corn. The golden ears are loaded onto massive ships, destined for markets around the world. You feel a sense of pride, knowing your efforts will help feed millions and support your family. Suddenly, the phone rings. Your corn has been rejected. The news hits you like a punch in the gut. All your planning, investment, and sweat seem to hang in the balance. This isn't a nightmare. It's what actually happened to American corn exporters when countries like China refused massive shipments. The headlines were everywhere, and the shockwaves rippled through rural communities. The reason? Traces of a genetically modified corn, MR162, not approved by Chinese regulators. Even the tiniest presence of this gene was enough to trigger a total rejection. Overnight, 1 million tons of U.S. corn were turned away. Contracts were canceled, ships sat stranded at ports, and millions of dollars were lost in an instant. The U.S. corn industry, once the world's go-to supplier, was thrown into chaos. Fields that once symbolized prosperity now became reminders of uncertainty. This wasn't just a business hiccup. It was a wake-up call for the entire agricultural sector. Farmers gathered in barns and community halls, searching for answers and support. A single, unapproved gene brought global trade to a halt, exposing just how fragile international markets can be. The interconnectedness of the world's food supply became painfully clear. American farmers, who thought their markets were secure, suddenly faced deep uncertainty. The future of their livelihoods was now in question. The trust between trading partners cracked, and the smooth flow of goods was disrupted. Delays and confusion became the new normal. The episode revealed just how vulnerable U.S. agriculture is to foreign regulations. Decisions made thousands of miles away could upend entire industries at home. What seemed like a reliable market became a source of anxiety and sleepless nights for many. The world was starting to scrutinize what's in its food, and U.S. corn was no longer the gold standard. Buyers demanded more transparency and stricter standards. This wasn't just about corn, it was about shifting power in global food trade. Countries wanted more control over what entered their borders. The message from abroad was clear: we want control over what we eat. Food safety and sovereignty became rallying cries. For American farmers, the rules of the game had changed overnight. They now had to navigate a maze of new regulations and shifting expectations. The rejection of U.S. corn signaled a new era of food politics. Trade deals and alliances were suddenly up for renegotiation. Suddenly, American agriculture was on the defensive, forced to adapt or risk being left behind. Farmers and exporters scrambled to find new solutions and restore trust. The world's appetite for corn hadn't changed, but its standards had. Quality, safety, and traceability were now at the forefront. The U.S. had to face a hard truth: not everyone wants what it's selling. The future would demand adaptation, innovation, and a new approach to global trade. So, what is genetically modified corn? It's not just crossbreeding, it's high-tech DNA editing. Scientists insert genes from other organisms to make corn resist pests or survive herbicides. Companies claim this boosts yields and reduces chemical use, promising more food for a growing world. But critics worry. What are the long-term effects of changing a plant's DNA? Some fear environmental risks or unknown health impacts. In the US, GM corn is everywhere and widely accepted. But countries like China and Mexico demand more proof of safety. This isn't just science, it's a clash of philosophies about food, risk, and control. The debate over GM corn is about trust, in technology, in regulators, and in the food on our plates. The world is divided on what's safe and who gets to decide. Why are China and Mexico rejecting U.S. genetically modified corn? The answer is more complex than you might think. For China, food safety is absolutely paramount, and every new food technology is met with intense scrutiny. Past food scandals have left the public deeply wary of anything unfamiliar, especially when it comes to what ends up on their plates. The government responds with caution, especially when it comes to staple foods like corn that feed millions every day. In Mexico, the concerns run even deeper. Corn isn't just food, it's a symbol of heritage and national pride. Native corn varieties are central to Mexican culture, identity, and even spiritual traditions, passed down through generations. There's a real fear that genetically modified pollen could contaminate ancient corn, threatening to erase centuries of biodiversity and unique flavors. Both countries also worry about the rise of superweeds and the increased use of chemicals that often come with GM crops. At the heart of it all, it's about food sovereignty, the right of people to control what's grown and eaten in their own communities. They refuse to be pressured or dictated to by foreign corporations or outside governments pushing their own interests. By rejecting US GM corn, they're standing up to defend their land, their culture, and the future of their food systems. It's a powerful stand for independence and self-determination in an increasingly globalized food system. The message is clear. We set our own rules, and we decide what's best for our people. The world is watching closely, and some countries are already starting to follow their lead. For US farmers, rejected shipments meant disaster. Years of hard work and investment suddenly seemed wasted as their crops were turned away at foreign ports. Years of relying on big buyers like China backfired overnight. The market that once seemed secure vanished in an instant, leaving exporters scrambling for alternatives. Suddenly, mountains of unsold corn flooded the market, prices crashed, and farmers faced financial ruin. Silos overflowed, and the value of their harvest plummeted, threatening their livelihoods and the future of their farms. Many questioned their dependence on a few foreign markets. Conversations in rural communities turned to survival and the need for change. Some blamed slow government approvals. Others blamed seed companies for pushing unapproved GM varieties. Frustration grew as fingers pointed in every direction, but solutions remained elusive. The crisis exposed the risks of a globalized, one-size-fits-all approach. When one link in the chain breaks, the entire system can unravel, leaving everyone vulnerable. What if China never comes back? The fear is real. A permanent shift in global trade could sideline US farmers for years or even decades to come. The lesson? Diversify or risk losing everything. Farmers began exploring new crops, new markets, and new strategies to survive in a changing world. The corn crisis forced a painful rethink of American agriculture's future. Innovation and adaptation became more important than ever before. In the end, the customer calls the shots. And right now, they want something different. Exporters must listen and respond to shifting global demands. US exporters must adapt or be left behind. Embracing new technologies and building relationships with diverse buyers is now essential for survival. The world's corn market has changed for good. Competition is fierce, and only the most flexible will thrive in this new era. The stakes have never been higher. For America's farmers, the future depends on their ability to adapt, innovate, and persevere. While US farmers struggled, Canada seized the moment. With less GM corn, Canada became the new supplier for countries seeking pure corn. Canadian corn, marketed as non-GM, quickly won billion-dollar deals. For Canadian farmers, it was a game changer. Suddenly, they were in the spotlight. The government promoted their corn as safe and trustworthy. Canada's cautious approach paid off, proving there's a big market for non-GM crops. The US took notice to compete. It might need to offer more than just GM corn. The global market now demands choice, not just quantity. Canada's success is a lesson in flexibility and timing. Sometimes being different is the best strategy. Mexico took corn protection to the highest level, its constitution. Native corn is now a national treasure, legally shielded from GM contamination. This isn't just policy, it's cultural survival. The ban on GM corn planting is a stand against foreign pressure and corporate influence. Corn is woven into Mexican life, from food to festivals. By enshrining corn in law, Mexico sends a message: our heritage is not for sale. Even trade panels can't override this commitment. The world is watching as Mexico defends its food sovereignty. It's a landmark battle, culture versus commerce. The outcome could inspire other nations to follow suit. The GM corn debate isn't just political, it's personal. More people are choosing non-GM or organic foods, seeking what feels natural and safe. The precautionary principle drives many. If we're unsure, why risk it? Some distrust government assurances, citing a lack of long-term studies. Environmental worries, like chemical use, also shape choices. For many, buying non-GM is a vote for sustainability and transparency. Clear labeling is a growing demand. People want to know what's in their food. The movement is about control, health, and values. The market is listening. Demand for non-GM products is rising. The food system is changing, one shopper at a time. Behind GM corn are powerful corporations, giants like Bayer and Monsanto. They control seeds, chemicals, and influence policy through lobbying. Their profits depend on patented seeds and the herbicides that go with them. Critics say U.S. regulations rely too much on industry-funded studies. This close government-industry relationship raises questions about whose interests are served. When the U.S. pushes GM crops abroad, it's not just about trade, it's about corporate power. Other countries' concerns challenge a system shaped by big business. The fight is about more than science. It's about who controls our food. It's a battle between centralized agribusiness and local food sovereignty. The outcome will shape the future of farming worldwide. The corn conflict asks, what should our food system value? Profit or heritage? Is food just a commodity, or is it culture, health, and environment? Mexico's stand shows some things are worth more than money. The debate is a clash of worldviews, efficiency versus tradition, global trade versus local control. Both sides have passionate advocates, feeding the world or saving its soul. The choices we make now will shape the future of food for everyone. Do we want quantity at any cost, or a system that honors heritage and health? Maybe the answer is balance, progress with preservation. The story of corn is a call to action. What kind of food world do we want? The decision is ours, on our plates and in our policies.